Instead of bringing you my usual philosophical musings today, I bring you what I think of as ginger tea for the soul. You might have seen me drink ginger tea with lots of honey in past videos, and I usually have that when I have a cold or a flu, which unfortunately I do right now. But I'm also bone tired, and that requires a little bit more than tea, something for the spirit. I've been circling on a topic that I'm very keen to share with you through a video, but it's not ready yet and I don't want to force it. So today, I'm going to do one of my favorite activities, especially in the summer when I'm feeling tired or if I want to find a little bit of comfort. I find great solace in poetry and reading fantasy books, especially when it's been a rough week or when I simply just want to enjoy being, truly being. There's something about the cadence of poetry, and I especially like this little anthology of poems for children. It's called the Children's Treasury of Lyrical Poetry. I found this little book at a second-hand bookshop in Cambridge when I went to visit a friend. And as you can see, I only bought it for £2, which is crazy really, because this book is worth to me far more than the £2 that I bought it for. It feels like I'm holding a piece of history. It's so old, over 100 years, this little book. And it has brought me many moments of peace and joy. In the summer, I just love throwing open the windows and reading poetry out loud to myself, especially in the evenings. So today, I'm going to sit in the garden instead. The garden has been changing. As spring moves into summer, the last of the bleeding hearts are desperately clinging on to their thin branches. The roses are in full bloom, and the air smells so fragrant, and there's petals on the floor. I absolutely love that smell, and it makes me feel so lucky to be able to smell it. The peonies that were once just budding very shyly for many days have now been in full bloom and are dying. This burst of color in spring is giving way to death and rebirth, renewal. There are new flowers appearing, new blooms speaking, and the landscape is ever changing, just like our lives really. So let's read some poetry today and enjoy being, enjoy this moment, because sometimes we don't want to muse on the past nor the future. It helps just to have a bit of ginger tea, read some poetry, and just be. The first poem that I want to read to you today is one by W. Cowper. So let's find it first. There we are. It's called To a Spaniel on His Killing a Young Bird by W. Cowper. I reckon he's a William. I need to check that actually. A spaniel beau that fares like you, well fed and at his ease, should wiser be than to pursue each trifle that he sees. But you have killed a tiny bird, which flew not till today, against my orders, whom you heard forbidding you the prey. Nor did you kill that you might eat and ease a doggish pain. For him, though chased with furious heat, you left where he was slain. Nor was he of the thievish sort, or one whom blood allures, but innocent was all his sport, whom you have torn for yours. My dog, what remedy remains? Since teach you all I can, I see you after all my pains so much resemble man. And here's Beau's reply. Sir, when I flew to seize the bird, in spite of your command, a louder voice than yours I heard, and harder to withstand. You cried, "Forbear!" but in my breast a mightier cried, "Proceed!" 'Twas nature, sir, whose strong behest impelled me to the deed. Yet, much as nature I respect, I ventured once to break, as you perhaps may recollect, her precept for your sake. And when your linnet, on a day, passing his prison door, had fluttered all his strength away, and panting, pressed the floor, well knowing him a sacred thing, not destined to my tooth, I only kissed his ruffled wing, and licked the feathers smooth. Let my obedience then excuse my disobedience now. No, some reproof yourself refuse from your aggrieved bow-wow. If killing birds be such a crime, which I can hardly see, what think you, sir, of killing time with verse addressed to me? How clever is that poem? It always makes me laugh. Especially that line from your aggrieved bow wow. Ah, brilliant. Okay. The next poem has been on my mind for several days now. It's called The Echoing Green by William Blake. Let me find it. Okay, here goes. The Echoing Green by William Blake. The sun does arise and make happy the skies. The merry bells ring to welcome the spring. The skylark and thrush, the birds of the bush, sing louder around to the bell's cheerful sound, while our sports shall be seen on the echoing green. Old John with white hair does laugh away care. Sitting under the oak among the old folk, they laugh at our play, and soon they all say, such were the joys when we, all girls and boys, in our youth time were seen on the echoing green. Till the little ones weary, no more can be merry. The sun does descend, and our sports have an end. Round the laps of their mothers, many sisters and brothers, like birds in their nest, are ready for rest, and sport no more seen on the darkening green. How beautiful is that? The next one is called The Night. And before I get to the night, I do want to say that The Beggar Maid by Lord Tennyson is also an excellent poem, but I'm not going to read you that today. I want to read to you The Night. There we go. Night by William Blake. The sun descending in the west, the evening star to shine. The birds are silent in their nest, and I must seek for mine. The moon, like a flower in heaven's high bower, with silent delight sits and smiles on the night. Farewell green fields and happy groves, where flocks of tender light, where lambs are nibbled, silent moves the feet of angels bright. Unseen, they pour blessing and joy without ceasing on each bud and blossom and each sleeping bosom. They look in every thoughtless nest where birds are covered warm. They visit caves of every beast to keep them all from harm. If they see any weeping that should have been sleeping, they pour sleep on their head and sit down by their bed. So those are 3 poems that I wanted to share with you today. In some ways, they reflect the impermanence of our ever-changing situations. Whatever that we're experiencing now is probably not going to be the same in the next moment's time, let alone the next day. So it helps to read some poetry and tune into that present moment, because that's really all we have sometimes, isn't it? Who knows, maybe like old John, who's reminiscing on his days as a boy, playing with other boys and girls on the echoing green. That day might or might not come to us. With that, I hope to bring you something interesting next time. Till then, take care.